as you can see from the title, career opportunities for Power BI experts. So this is something that I'm hoping some people who I want to hear their opinions too will join in. And so it can be a bit more of not just one-sided, or should I say two-sided, what I think and what I've gathered, because I did some bit of research too. I want to gather online. I don't just me I gathered and what host. I can see some of the people I want to hear their opinions. I just mentioned that I hope some of our members want to join so that I can hear also their own opinions and not just what I gathered online. So,
good evening.
please feel free to share at any point in time as you rigid about the structure. So, from my own small exposure and experience, and also what I've seen and a bit of what I've read, if you want to really plug in deep into this old Power BI job space, this is what I think anybody who is serious about it should go after. Number one is hands-on experience. I've seen interview sessions where someone has certification, also has even the background in terms of what we call university degree background, something closer to this BI space than someone else. But that someone else had, proof of hands-on experience. And you know what? We went straight for the person that has proof of hands-on experience. So it's a field where for now, it's good that all you can prove as what you can do is enough. Nobody's going to be saying, did you read it in first degree? It's not like an accounting kind of role where they will prefer someone who did accounting in first degree over someone who did not. This is a role where people, first of all, want to see your hands-on experience. What have you done? And what have you done leads me to number two. What can you do? So what have you done is I've worked in this place, I've worked in this role, I've been part of this project, I've done this before. So that is good. You get their attention. They begin to pay you attention. They begin to see you as someone worth considering. Then the next thing is, what can you do? We read about what you've done with other, but we want to see now visible portfolio. We want to see what you can do. Sometimes some people might even give you a task. If you are lucky, they might say, you know what, let us give you a task, which is not unusual. Maybe if you are highly recommended and it's not like they are interviewing plenty of people. So they could be like, you know what, okay, we're going to give you some sample data, or we're going to just tell you about what we want to do, and you prepare for us a presentation, or prepare for us a sample demonstration, right? So they want to see what you can do. But if you already have had something ahead that you are showing them that, I've done this, I've done that. And the cool thing about BI space is that Power BI, Tableau, and I think every other BI tool, they have this public gallery space where you can start churning out things for demonstration. You can do stuff and put it for display there. So if you do those ones, people will begin to take you seriously. And then number three is evidence of structured learning. In Nigeria, it might not be critical. And, well, maybe let's scratch that. In some companies, it might not be critical. They might not be so much wanting to know what's your structured evidence of structured learning, especially if it's a job you are getting based on referral. But when it's something that they are putting advert towards, then this is going to be a big deal. Because HR, they normally have a methodology of screening. And in their list of requirements, they first of all start with the things that are tied to structured learning. So they might say, experience in this, certification in that. So even when they don't say it, those are what their eyes normally go out for, right? So if you have someone who has the first two and does not have that evidence of structured learning, and someone else who has evidence of structured learning, you will see that the person who has evidence of structured learning is going to get more attention from the gatekeepers. So it's not so much of a big deal currently, but it's something that if you know this is a major move for you and like a long-term move, then it's not too hard to get some evidence of structured learning. It could be a nano degree, it could be even a certification, that's also why I separated it from number 4. So that you don't think it's only a certification that can be that plug, you know. Just have something that shows that it's not just that you just feel you can do this thing and maybe you just have some portfolio of what you've done. It's always good to also back it up with some evidence of structured learning. Then certification is a plus. It's not yet a big deal yet. It's not yet a big deal, but it's obviously something of huge significance the more people move into this space. So you want to also, especially if this is going to be a major move for you, major in terms of you want to switch your career in this path, then please do the certification, especially now when they are still cheap. The certifications are cheap, and when I say cheap, most of the certifications don't expire. I guess when CCNA started, CCNA was cheap. Maybe they don't used to make it 3 years. I remember that I did Oracle. I did Oracle OCA 10G. It does not expire. But now, these days, even when they don't expire, they replace them with newer versions really fast. So now is the time where it can be easy to get even a certification. Some, like Microsoft at some point was even letting people do the BI related certifications free and Azure related certifications free, and now it's even cheap. They say it's $15 if you can show that you are affected by COVID-19. So there's nothing stopping you from doing it now, and I think it's easier now than if you keep pushing it forward. And it's one exam. It's not like some exams that you have to, some certification where you have to do like 3 or 4 exams as for now. Then number 5, so this one can make you transitioning a lot faster. If you have some industry experience, it can be a big boost. So if you already maybe used to be MIS in an FMCG, do like group reporting. It could be even you work with supply chain or you work with the production team or sales or marketing. If you merge that with BI, I think you will get more job opportunities easier than someone who does not have that industry experience at all, because that industry experience is going to speak a lot of volume for you in you being considered for jobs in those specific industry that you have those experience. So whether a project manager before in some, it could be role related, it could be industry related. Maybe I should put it role related too, because not just industry experience. It could just be that you have always been in the project management space, or you've been in the supply chain space, and then BI on top. Oh, you're going to be hot cake from what I hear from the guys in supply chain. So SQL knowledge is a plus. I don't want to say it's a necessity, because a lot of times what you'll be doing in the BI space with SQL is majorly just on the reading side. You're not going to be designing database. You're only going to be consuming off from them. And most of the times too, even people say that, okay, good, you should be able to run queries that will go bring in the data. To be sincere, from my experience, right? Maybe for those of us who are consultants, where it is as you are doing the job is when you start understanding the nature of the data system and the hierarchy. So you might find out that you just have to bring in everything first and then start streaming down, understanding the scope of job, understanding what they want. Sometimes you will be the one guiding the clients. They have an idea of what they want, but the more you do, the more their mind expands. So before they wanted like 3 reports, by the time you've done 2, they say they want 4 more. So a lot of times I find out that you trying to just run SQL to bring only just what you need do not work very well for those of us in the consulting space. It doesn't really save time, because in the end, you find out that you have to first bring in, forget about performance at first, do what they want, then you now start optimizing afterwards. But I've seen people who are staff, hey, mixed deal, you've understood your data system perfectly, right? So you just, instead of you doing a lot, especially those, I don't want to mention names, but I know someone who works in a company that I consult for, and what he has done is he created SQL queries to just bring in the records that his colleague used to go and download from the ERP. So he just run those SQL straight against the ERP underlying database. I'm bringing it only the columns he needs, in sometimes even pre-formatted or joining some things in the way he wants. And then he brings it in, and then from there he runs, because he tried to learn some VBA. So some VBA to now just do some bit of stuff on top of it. But if it was Power BI, it was bringing it into, it wouldn't be needing VBA. It would just run the entire process end to end. But in his own case, he already knew exactly what he wanted. But most of us in the consulting space, when it's the client telling you what they want, never really had a situation where exactly what they said in the beginning is what I'm ending up using at the end. But all what I'm trying to say is that SQL is a plus, that if you don't have it, it's not going to be too much of a minus. But then when you have it, I think I've always had it, so maybe it can be difficult, because I did SQL certifications, and even when I build apps, at some point I was learning building apps, SQL we use a lot. So maybe I might not be the best person to be the judge. Yeah, let me hear from someone else. Mr. Charles, what do you think about SQL? Or Mr. Taiwo, let me just hear from someone else about that point, because I don't want to.
Yeah, if I might come in, I hope I'm being heard.
Yes, yes.
All right. Actually, SQL, I've been in the telecoms. I've worked with persons who work with a lot of data. Almost often, the IT guys will not allow you tamper with the entire database as it is. So what they normally do is, if too much, allow you to be able to query some underlying queries. Almost often, that is what it is. So you're allowed to query, get your data, take it. Most of the time, then it's taking it to Excel and going to do analysis with it. Or sometimes you might need to do some aggregation on the data that you have queried from the database, you see, so that you can bring it into Excel because of the limitations. However, with Power BI now, much of that limitations is out. And so we see opportunities where we could tell the IT guys that they should have that query. So you can build the SQL query, give it to them. They make it a part of the query at the back end, waiting for you, giving you access to it, so that you can now get your Power BI to speak with that query. So you don't need to be running it or doing it over and over again. So for those who might want to use Power, who want to learn Power BI, it does help if we know the basics of SQL. If we know the basics of SQL, knowing things like your normalization, so that you can understand how the table is at the back end to work with it. Then doing some simple select queries and queries that would help you determine filters within the data. Once you have that skill, I think that added to Power BI now becomes something sought for in the job market.
Thanks a lot for that perspective. Let me begin to call out some other names. So, Mr. T, do you want to say something?
Yes, I thank you for the consistency. Thank you for this platform. Oga Charles, everybody, good evening.
Good evening.
So yes, good evening. So the now in maybe 2-3 years ago, data analytics, there were folks who could just pursue the certifications and possess that skill, and then they are industry agnostic. So it means you bring them to finance, they might struggle for 3 weeks, but once they get the structure, they function. Bring them to telecoms, bring them to supply chain, they might struggle for 3-4 weeks. They get it and they begin to function. I have this habit of constantly benchmarking, even if I don't intend to leave my job. I work in supply chain as a planning, in your terms, you call it an analyst. I work as a business planner, inventory optimizations and some other things. So I benchmark myself versus people who do what I do in Netherlands, in North America, in Middle East, and increasingly they are in the supply chain field. They are not looking for those analysts who are agnostic that will come into the supply chain and spend some time hibernating and understanding the system. They are now increasingly asking for professionals with follow-come capabilities in SQL and then Power BI. The emphasis is really on Power BI. Tableau may be for some other type of functions, but for supply chain particularly, it's majorly Power BI and SQL. Yeah, some level of Python if they need to do some forecasts and regressions, which thankfully Power BI has also that capability has also been brought into Power BI. So I just thought to mention that in terms of the job outlook for Power BI as it concerns my industry.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. In fact, I don't think what you said is something that is just for industry. I'm beginning to think maybe it also applies generally where people are going to be shifting from, even if it has not started yet. I'm thinking it to be something that will probably catch up on all industry where I like the way you put it, follow-come capabilities.
Yes.
Make it look like a gadget, like a car or something. Follow-come. Okay. Mr. D, Mr. Dapo, I want to also hear your own opinion. What do you think about, do you think SQL is like a big must-have skill? And any other thing that you want to talk about this skills checklist?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, Oga Charles. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, let me say, standing on existing protocols, you've all said it all, right? Like my Oga who just spoke now, using the word follow-come, and exactly that is what it is. For you to really excel with Power BI, which is over time, let me say, in the BI world, Power BI is has been a game changer now. All industries, irrespective of what they do, they all use Power BI, even auditing firms. Now, I worked on a project recently with a Deloitte company in Bermuda, and I see that their IT guys, these are not core database IT guys, if you get what I mean. These are just network guys, right? And all their reports are on Power BI. Reports, monitoring system time down, right? When the systems are up, which server is down, which server is not connecting. All of those, they are running all of those reports on Power BI. And as a matter of fact, they need SQL skill to connect to this, multi-environment databases for them to be able to spool all of this data together and bring them into one report. It's more than a plus, right? But I think you might not need that skill of, you having to build a database or something, or data structure or anything. All you just need to do is have that basic understanding, the normal select query and all of that for you to be able to deliver on your job. Most especially, you need to understand the data itself. That is a key thing. If you don't understand the data, you need to spend time to understand the data because that will aid and guide whatever you're going to do on that project. SQL understanding is a plus, I must say, is a plus. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Who else has something before I call out specific people anymore? Who else wants to just chip in? I don't know us all, so with just the few people I know that I'm calling out. I know there will be other people in the house who have their own opinions that we all need to hear also. Okay, Mr. Francis or Dr. Francis, oh yeah. I'm sure you know I will call you. So uh, you have to unmute so we hear also from your own side.
I'm just doing it. I don't know what to get.
Okay, what the question is, right? So the question is, actually, I've been talking about. So this is me compiling what I think and from the little I've come across and some checking and other people's experience that I've been part of. The skills that anybody seriously wanting to move fully into BI, Power BI, and be considered an expert, and then looking for jobs. You should try and meet this checklist. So when I got to the point, the part of SQL, so I said, we would like to hear, what do people think about SQL as a plus or as a necessity or optional? Like, what do you think from your own perspective? Is SQL a must-have for someone moving into this Power BI space? As someone who wants to get a job in this space.
So, first of all, you are getting into the biggest thing for the
We are not hearing clearly again. No. What do you think, Mike?
Anyway,
Well, not like before. Before you are really clear.
I can hear you clearly.
I think that two of you talking from the same mic, and maybe one is dragging the mic from the other.
Is it clear now?
Okay, it's manageable. Yeah, it's.
Alright. So how you say that? So if you're going into business intelligence, so most times you realize that we are bringing in your data most times to become in Excel, okay, or CSV. But you see that where the data becomes very large, that's the Excel doesn't work anymore. So you need to move straight to the database. That's why you need to understand why you need to move to the database. But you see those who are learning Power BI, when it comes to the part of importing data and doing data modeling, sometimes you don't get to understand that part. For you to understand how that data model works, you need to understand SQL. That's where your database is all coming. So that's one part. Why I think you need to learn SQL. So that's why I feel it's skill to learn.
Okay. No, it was a bit muffled, but I got what you said, and I'm sure many people you did. Just to paraphrase it in one sentence, in case anybody didn't get. So your own position is it's almost a necessity because in real life you will end up having to work with data that are much larger, that will be coming from a structured database, and you will be having to do some modeling. That understanding of SQL is the only way you'll be able to build meaningful models even within your Power BI. Yes. So, and number 7, I said Excel mastery is a plus, and that is again based on my own experience and what I see on the field. That still a lot of companies' data are still stored in Excel files up and down. Almost every company, if you ask them for budgets, most of the time budgets are in Excel. If you ask them for targets, if you ask them for some things, you'll find out that they will just email you an Excel file, and you'll be like, okay, is there no way I can access this from your already existing enterprise software? And then you find out that, especially HR data, those ones, if you ever need to do an HR project, just expect that you're going to get a lot of data in Excel, because it's easier for them to collate data manually and type into Excel, because most of their own data sometimes is not like they get a lot of tools that makes all those, they cover training, they cover some things that might not even be globally possible to cover in one product. So you find out that they have a lot of data house in Excel, and it's just like that in most of the companies I've had to do work for. So you will find out that even though it is Power BI you have to do, or whatever the outcome you have to generate is going to be in Power BI, if you don't know Excel, you will find out that the Excel part of the data they are giving you might mess you up. So you might have to do some cleaning on the Excel data kind of that. So Excel mastery, I said it's a plus. I don't want to say necessity because again, I know people who just are funny that those people who argue against Excel are more of the people who even know Excel very well. So I'm waiting to hear from someone who does not know Excel and is really like saying he's a BI person and he's not knowing Excel has never been a concern or an issue. So, but to be on the safe side, just make sure you have your Excel proficiency also there, so you don't end up being especially in jobs where, for a consultant, one can be much more rigid and say, you know what I got this contract for is Power BI. Let your in-house guys clean the Excel files and send it the way that I want. But when you are an internal staff, you might not have that. It might look bad on you if you are saying just because something is in Excel and you are hired for Power BI, you are not going to do the work they've paid you to do. You're going to look funny. So number 8, multi-project experience. I found out also too that maybe not for job interviews yet, but at least in project interviews, that people like it a lot when they hear that you have done this for, maybe a sales-related project, another one for a supply chain related one, another for maybe HR. They like it. They like to hear that you've, honed your skills over different domains. So it's something that if you can get, it's a plus. And the good thing is it's easy to get. All you have to do is just freelance. So freelancing is way easy these days, apart from just word of mouth to friends to send you their data or help somebody there in different industries. You don't have to say your freelance is tied to a payment. That's a cool thing. If I tell you I've worked on an oil and gas production data, I've worked on it. If I tell you I've worked on like 20 different domains, it will not occur to you to be asking me why they all paid engagements. So I work whether paid or non-paid. It's secondary. Nobody is going to be beating you up on that. And more importantly, the impression you need to create is going to be very basic. So I want to move on to sharing with you some research I did pre-now. So I just want to ask you, is there anything anybody wants to maybe comment about, or something you feel should be added that is not there, or even something that you remove lesser consideration? Our guys in the house now. Okay. But if anything occurs to you, please feel free to share. I want this to be a bit more of an interactive and multiple opinions than, like I said, just mine and mine.
Another skill set you need to do is how to present tell stories. Data storytelling. Learn how to present and tell stories.
Okay, presentation. Yes, that's your presentation skills and how you tell the story. Yes. Maybe I should have added that as an extra. So yes, you really need to be good with the presentation part, with the visual part of your work. So now let me share with us some research, some digging deep that I've done ahead. So if you see, I just hope this thing is not so tiny. Let me see if there's a way one can zoom it. Okay, it looks not too tiny anyway. So these sites, as you can see from the name CIO, I've been following them for a long time. So they kind of do research. They focus more on CIO/COO, and so there is one of these reports, or like a very long article they did about what are the top 8. They did this last month, so it's recent. December 10 was when this was published. So what are the top 8 business intelligence certifications? Let me see if I zoom, if it will happen at your end as a zoomed screen. It's not happening that way.
I think you shared the link, and
Oh, so people
Yeah,
can.
yeah, I was able to get it.
Oh,
Except maybe you might need to share it again for
oh,
those new entrants to get it if it behaves like Zoom.
oh, okay. I'm going to share it so that new entrants will get there. My presentation has even gone off. Let me see if I can rehook it up to the slides. Maybe I should just even share my entire screen so that one too helps better. So there's the slides. I'm going to reshare the slides now. But if you check in the chat box, you will see it. But then again, not to take any chances, let me just share all over so that those who joined in after I shared, they will definitely see. So they did some kind of a shortlisting and saying, okay, what are the top certifications in the industry? And like I said, this is really recent. This is December. And if you look at the list, I don't know whatsoever. I didn't read too much about the methodology. They wrote it there. So I'm just taking it on the terms of that. I've always been following them. So they are pretty authoritative in that domain. And it's worth taking serious whatsoever they've come up with. So they put certified business intelligence professional, which is the first time I'm seeing this certification. I don't know which organization is behind it. Then they put this IBM Cognos, and then you can see Microsoft Certified Data Analyst Associate. That's just Power BI, because it's only one exam you do, Power BI exam, and you get the certification. So that's Power BI. After that, there is ClickView. After that is the SAP BI Business Intelligence Platform. Then the SAS Certified Specialist. Then Tableau. One thing that got me really, really surprised is how far Tableau has dropped. 4 years, 3 years ago, Tableau was almost like number one market share in a whole lot of every research about the self-service BI. But now it's really dropping, which is I'm beginning to feel a bit sorry for them because they kind of brought this space to limelight. I don't want to even, if one even says they kind of created this domain, some people will agree with you because they made it really.
You're very right, sir.
So it's sad to see them go down. And the thing I want to bring out is that for those of us who are Power BI, it shows that it's like we have made the right choice. Let me just use that word. For two reasons. One reason is it is growing. It's getting a lot of market acceptance and all. But the number two is if you look at those two things that they put above it, the IBM Cognos, I don't know any company in Nigeria using it. And IBM is crazy expensive that, except maybe you want to relocate to Europe and America, getting an employer who will be chasing you as they will be chasing Power BI people is something that is going to be a long shot. So I don't know the CBIP, so I can't make comment. But the thing I want to bring out from this is I was really happy to see that a lot of research people are doing. If you have this download, you'll see the link in case you want to read more. A lot of the research is showing that those of us that chose Power BI, we've not made a bad choice. We maybe are on a train that is going faster than other people's train. Let me use that word. And then this is another platform that is doing a ranking, of all the software tools in the business intelligence domain. And again, Power BI is coming really highly ranked. In this case, even ranked number one. So this is just to make a lot of us feel, happy or at ease that the fact that you are learning Power BI, maybe you should just put your effort in becoming extremely good at it and putting up a lot of comforting credentials to back up your claim of expertise in it. So, like for me, I'm deciding that I'm going to be doing a lot more business case. I have Nigerian data of companies. So I noticed that all these people who are able to show financial statements with Power BI, it looks really cool and gets a lot of attention. And I'm like, okay, I already have the data. It's just to do the time, to have the time. Then I'll create, that same format, even though for me, in usability, I I don't know. But once I create it, I will know how to make the usability with just the look and feel. Because most of the time I put myself in the shoes of someone of an investment analyst. So most of the time for an investment analyst, you want to see the data first, the thing you want to see it all at once first, rather than having to click many buttons to come out with what you want. So that's what has been holding me back. But for the market, sometimes you have to do what the market wants. Then you let them make their choice of what they want in terms of when they engage you. But at least they need to know you can do everything. Then they will engage you afterwards. So I also there is a friend, I don't know if she's on this call. So she called me last week, and she's relocated to the UK part of EU. There's a reason I'm saying UK part of EU. And so I was now trying to advise her on what to do. So I wasn't so sure whether she should go for Tableau or Power BI. So when I started researching, I came across this site that's purely for UK. So they do a ranking by job offers. So that's why I really, really like their own. So what they do is also tied to job offers. So if you look at this now, you're going to see that it's this ordering of the stuff, apart from the rank you are seeing, if you look at the second to the last column, historical permanent job adverts, you will see that one too kind of, if you look at the absolute figures, you will see that it's like in a descending order. So SQL Server has like the most mentions in job adverts. So MySQL, NoSQL, data warehouse, and then Power BI. Or if you look at the BI tools, it makes it look like Power BI is coming up number one. Then if I go down a bit more, you see Tableau, you see. So for those of us who are strictly on the self-service BI tool, and that means Power BI has the highest visibility from employers. Employers are looking for people with Power BI skills over any other self-service BI skill. So that's a very comforting one. So I decided, let me just share that. And then I started combing the net to look for job vacancies. And it's a mixture of good and bad news. So let me start with the bad news. The bad news is that in the Nigerian space, almost all the jobs I saw that were business BI analyst role or BI role, they were entry-level category or like lower mid category roles. So it's really saddening because when I went and looked at the international job space, they were not so. They were not all entry level or like, in fact, I think I saw only entry levels. It's just that sometimes the screenshot I take might not be able to show you, but you will see it from the job page for even the ones that is screenshot or the job listing did not write that it's not entry level. You see this one, see how much they are paying, 192 per month. So definitely this is not a mid-level role. It's not a senior level role. Still is similar to entry level. But I just wanted to show you the kind of stuff I saw. And this one, it didn't even write. I know that when I read through, they were entry level roles. So which is kind of sad. There were jobs that I really wanted to do Power BI. But when I looked at the details or the payment attached, they fell under entry level roles. Then I saw some that were not entry-level roles, but it's not BI that they call the role. So they call it maybe head of technology or chief information or something that is not your Power BI that is the main thing that they are after. The Power BI is like one of the requirements, so which is a tricky one. All right, so based on opportunities, number one is that, yes, there are data analysis roles, there are BI roles in Nigeria that the key requirement is your Power BI expertise, right? So yes, there are. The sadness is most of them are entry-level roles, okay? But then what other options do you have? You can freelance. So you can decide to plug into the international market space without leaving Nigeria and work as a freelancer. So on Upwork, very difficult to be a full-time freelancer on Upwork because the payment is not good at the beginning. So you might start slowly, and then when you get the reputation, you can begin to discriminate and go for only the high-paying job roles. But I just wanted you to know that there are a lot of job opportunities for someone in the BI space. And for me, I've even gotten a job on Upwork that was to teach somebody Power BI. I think I was charging him how much per hour. It wasn't too bad, not too good, but dollars, we all know dollar is now good now. So it was a very trivial thing, whatever hours I do, it was most of my own off-peak period. So it was in the night teaching. But I think the guy did only one class and did not come back. I think he got what he wanted in one class, which was not a very good thing. If I had known that he would have run away on time, maybe I would have given him a cut out. What he did when he But the key thing is those jobs are there, and they are much more there on the international space than on the Nigerian space. Okay. What I noticed on the Nigerian space is most companies, they get hooked. And then when they get hooked, they look for consultants instead of making it a job role. So they will just say they're looking for a consultant to come and build them this report and maybe upscale their in-house team. Rather than them saying, we are going to hire a role that will be for BI developer. If you noticed, don't worry, when I get to the international job space, you'll be seeing this word BI developer, Power BI developer. It has become a very, almost like a role in itself, not a data analyst, Power BI developer role. But in Nigeria, no, we add it to somebody's existing role. They don't think there should be somebody that should Power BI role. So they would rather go and look for a consultant who maybe jumpstart the whole thing, and then they will now add the role to existing people's role and say, oh yeah, you know what, carry on from the consultant's place and start managing the report and doing more. So from LinkedIn, these are the ones I could get. As you can see, there is this one called Business Intelligence Developer. Let me see if there is a place I got. The link is, if you have the screen, the slides, you will see. When I looked at it, it was also entry-level role, which was, like I said, is sad. The ones that was not entry-level role, let me see if I think that's general manager role. But they just said that the person should be able to use Power BI. It's like one of the many things they wanted. So it was not like specifically it was going to be doing Power BI. So there are opportunities, even in the NGO space. If you look at this job role I'm showing right now, it's in the NGO space, monitoring and evaluation consultant. And they're using Power BI. I think the company is, I can't remember the company name from here. But if you look at the job role, you understand perfectly that this is an NGO space. And yes, they are interested in someone who has a Power BI skill. So now let's go to where things are looking really awesome, the international space. Whether for a virtual job, which means like remote job, you'll be here, Nigeria or wherever you are, and you work for the. So are you looking at my screen? Can you see that BI developer? That's a job role in itself. So it's just like when people in technology, in web development, they hire maybe a UX UI person. Before, in Nigeria, they don't believe there's anything called UX UI. It's always full stack. The person must do everything, Then now they are beginning to understand that, there are some people that you need to hire that are UX UI. So I think we too are still at that phase where is now full stack data analysts. The person will do the Excel, will do the BI, will do the SQL part of it. But very soon we'll get there. But just to let you know that this is maybe the way things should be. So if you are setting yourself up, you want to have this in mind, so you don't go and make yourself too watered down. You're trying to chase so many disjointed competencies because the Nigerian market space is trying to force you to learn big data, Python, R, and everything together. That's the only time they will pay attention to your profile. No, look at the way it is done globally, and even if you are trying to plug those space, make sure you at least you are not shortchanging yourself in being globally competitive. So let us even pick one of these job roles and dig deep and see what it is that they expect you as a BI developer. And you can even see they are beginning to even classify and say senior Power BI developer, and maybe they will definitely be junior then, right? So that's how, structured they are beginning to consider this space. So I'm going to zoom my screen, and we're going to go. Let's start with this senior Power BI developer role, and then let's see what it is they are expecting someone with that competence to possess, right? So if you look at it, what you will do, you are going to help our KPI monitoring, develop and implement data functionality using Power BI in conjunction with this Microsoft data SQL-based tools anyways. So let me even just go straight to the qualifications. So where we can see where they list what they expect. Okay. They want, so this role, I think they are combining the technology that their stuff is already built on with your knowledge of Power BI. So they are looking for someone, so this lends credence to what Mr. Dapo was saying, the fact that, for some of us, you just need that SQL is going to be really vital. So anybody who is going to be applied to this, the SQL is just as valid as the Power BI that they want you to have. Okay, so that's one. Let's look at another job role. So if I go to this one that is labeled just a Power BI developer, and if we look at it, so let's go to the requirements. So hands-on Power BI developer. So follow-come. They need you to be follow-come with the skills. Well, anyway, if you call yourself a Power BI expert, you should have and able to package your the B2B strategy of Power BI security features that. So these people are really just the only thing that I see that looks outside of Power BI is the fact that they say, okay, they expect you to build reports that will be pulling out of Dynamics, which is an ERP. And they are not even saying you should be an expert or no for Dynamics. It's just they just specifying that, okay, you're going to be doing improved performance reports that the data is going to pull out of Dynamics. So if you look at this, you can just say that these people are looking for someone who is already skilled in Power BI, and they just need you to have Power BI competence. Okay. I'm going to just pick maybe two other ones. Let's look at this Power BI analytic consultant role, and then we move on to the next slide in my presentation so that we can look at other kinds of jobs. Okay, so this is for a bank, Wells Fargo, and let's look at what they are looking for. Again, it's looking kind of really straight up obvious SQL, and then the Power BI. So I think that's strange. Even though they said it's Power BI analytics, they gave the option of, okay, as long as you have 2 years experience in any of this. But I guess they are going to also want you to have experience in the Power BI itself. So this is just SQL and Power BI. Then one more, and then we move up. So move on to another on the slide. So from this thing that we are looking at, it's looking kind of very obvious that if you want to compete on the global space, then SQL, you should consider SQL necessity then, because it's looking like 4 or 3 out of every job role is mentioning SQL as a key requirement, as a key skill requirement.
Certainly.
Okay? So again, that's what I'm seeing here. All of this is Power BI, then all of this is SQL. And it looks like Microsoft SQL is a big deal, which I think so too. Most companies I see that are not startups, that are traditional companies, they use either they are using the Oracle-based DB or the Microsoft-based DB. In startups, I know who kind of use the MySQL-based ones. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our slide, and then we go to another category of jobs. And if you look at these job categories too, developer, Power BI developer. If I follow the link, I will pick one of them. So these are jobs collated by a completely different entity and hopefully different geographical region. So I'm going to pick the one that is remote. So that's why I even want to use this one. I'm going to pick a role that is remote, and let's see together what kind of expertise this, because I think this is going to be more relevant for those of us in Nigeria where it's easier to get a job that is remote than to get the one that requires you to be already outside of the country. Okay. This one is, the job description is bloody. It's looking like a one that Nigerians wrote. 10-year plus and Microsoft BI. So again,
Oh God. Sorry, I had to laugh. I had to laugh to what you said.
SS, because before now, Microsoft too used to have what they call BI, Microsoft BI, sitting on top of their most expensive SSRS, SSIS installation. So all those SQL-based database. So the BI, almost like when Oracle BI used to sit on top of Oracle, where there is this OBIE that used to be really popular with the banks and telecoms. So when you see this Microsoft BI, it's kind of you just interpreting it as a SQL, Microsoft SQL, then the BI that sits on top of it. So again, SQL, then Power BI, then Azure. That's why I say it looks like Nigeria wrote this one. So there's a lot they're asking for. This is not going to be something that is going to be very easy for the traditional person to get. So this is really a lot too. They're even asking for some other technologies. I can see, okay, these are all dynamics related. Even Azure Data Lake. All right, not bad. Let's look for another one. This one looks like something that you have to be a superstar to pursue. I don't want to pick the same company. I'm sure it's the same person who probably will have written the job specs.
Hi, hello, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry, if I can quickly say something. I think the major difference between the type of jobs you see in Nigeria and on the international space is majorly about the kind of data that we manage. Outside there, they have existing structured data, right? The international space are more structured than anyone, than any Nigerian organization, if you ask me. And that is why you see them over there, mostly you don't see entry levels, right? They are looking for someone who will come and sit to manage the team, not as compared to Nigeria where they're looking for entry levels, here and there. So if you ask again, the only organization in Nigeria that has large data are mostly the banks and telcos. You understand? But if you look out there on international space, look at Wells Fargo, for example, or Amazon. The kind of data they have is more than all the Nigerian banks combined, right? So you can't expect them to now say, okay, we want you to come and join as an entry level staff or entry level team member. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Then again, in terms of the products, the likes of Click, IBM, Cognos, and all of them. Interestingly, we have some Nigerian companies using them, right? But the funny thing is, with Power BI, most of them now are running to Power BI. Power BI, is a game changer. It has really tampered with their ego. So most companies are now using Power BI now. You just find out that for one reason or the other, you see one company because of this ego, without understanding what the tool really does, they just go there to buy the tool, and it now becomes an issue when it comes to deployment or implementation, right? Licensing is very expensive. right? In terms of implementation, they get to employ someone from outside to come and do it for them. So, and in terms of usage as well, you have to be, they send people out for training to have these skills. And once that person resigns, they are stuck. So unfortunately for them, they all have to move over to Microsoft Power BI now. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for that insight. Any other person to?
Can I add?
Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Yeah. So to add to that also, we want to take note that before the coming of Power BI, we had Excel, we had some other tools for data analysis. We also had that role of data analyst. And back then, much of these organizations that even had some amount of data that we would say they are significant within Nigeria, they just saw them as support staff. You know, we tell you to just do this analysis, put the graph together and give it to me. I'm taking it to the boardroom for presentation.
Yeah.
You see, so they saw them that way. Now Power BI has come in. Not many of them understand what it takes to work with Power BI. You get it? But they just feel that, oh, Power BI is another tool that presents, visualization so interestingly. And so it is more or less the same data analyst. They do not see that you will need to put more than that in coming up with your reports and your visualization. They don't see that you need to understand the theory behind the business, if I should say that, before you can come out with insightful visualizations. So that's why here in Nigeria, we still see many organizations underplaying the role of Power BI developers as compared to our foreign counterparts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, in fact, I have a lot of confirming stories to even say to what you've said. Where I don't, so that it doesn't look like let me check the list of those in this meeting so that I can, what I want to say, it doesn't look like I'm offensive to anybody. But yeah, I've seen situations where, why the person or the organization wants to use Power BI is because of some charts that they saw online. So they saw some charts online, and when they checked out where, they know that chart is not in Excel, and they like that chart. So when they check out where the chart is coming from, they find out that it's Power BI. You know what? I want this chart. And then the discussion becomes around, okay, it's on Power BI. Okay, great. Oh yeah, my team, you guys have to do me these charts. And then that's how Power BI begins to enter the picture. But do you know why? All of the need is just because the person wants to see, usually someone in the management level, wants to see some kind of visualizations in the report that his teams, in the things he needs to use to day-to-day track what is happening. And then also for board meetings, that he needs to also have those reports shared with board members. And so you find out that they are kind of replacing Excel with Power BI, kind of, using it almost the same way. So I've seen a lot of very interesting ones where it's not like Power BI, it's now like the new Excel that they are using. And it's now more difficult because they have to now bend to both words, bend to the exact type of it, bend to the licensing and some other things. And then it's no longer automated. Somebody has to maybe update something somewhere or manually do some things before some things will pop up. But I agree completely. So we're almost getting to the end. And then I also want people to share more. So I'm just going to rush through the concluding slide, which again are more of just, I'm trying to get job opportunities across different geographical spaces, So that's why there are so many of these. And just to show you the kind of words people use, in that space, so that anybody who is doing this should at least be aware of the Nigerian nuances, the nuances that exist in our own ecosystem. And then even as you try to fit yourself for local relevance, don't go and now become globally relevant or internationally irrelevant, so that you don't just go and become the carpenter that is doing chair, the carpenter that is doing furniture, a carpenter that will still be the one that will go and do the one for people who want to build houses, you know, and you're just doing everything, and in the end, you are not able to do anything very, very well. And when people start looking for experts, you know, you don't come up in anywhere because you are just so already straight thin. So anyway, I saw some interesting way of, as you can see, a data visualization analyst. I'll be so happy the day I see this role in Nigeria. You know, where somebody is going to be hiring for a role that will be called data visualization analyst. You know, so again, just to draw our mind to how internationally some of these job roles are structured in a way that these are the very, very simple. I'm trying to. Okay. All right. So I'm just going through the chat message. So Mr. Charles have said something. Maybe he will expand on it later. So as I come to the end, you have the slide, so I don't need to keep reading what you have already. The only thing I want to just point out is that for anybody moving into this space, if you ask me, I will say there are three ways. At least for me, there are three ways I've seen work. Number one way is as you are learning and you are building. So if I go back to the slide number one, where I put the checklist. So as you are learning, you don't have to. Don't use the approach of, I'm going to learn everything first. Then I will now go and start building or looking for, or building stuffs. No. As you are learning, be building stuffs. As you are learning, be building stuffs, and the stuffs you are building, be showcasing them. So you'll be doing 1 and 2 at the same time. Because those two things, they are very, very big. I've seen people who got jobs based on what they have posted online as showcase on that Power BI gallery or even on Tableau gallery. And so that already sets you way ahead. People do not have anything there. So number 3 is also, if you know this is going to be a major and a permanent career move for you, then also get a certification. It sounds like a cliche, but to be sincere, I have seen cases where someone who knows a lot more than another person was passed over just because of certification. So you don't want to have those very saddening experience. Okay, and also I was saying there are 3 things I've seen work. That's showcasing your work as you are learning. And number 2 is that be on freelance sites. Freelance site worked for me. It helps you to get that plurality of experience and a low barrier entry, a low entry barrier. So you don't face this chicken and hen problem where people are asking you for what you've done. And it's not until you do stuff for people before you have what you have done. And then you become like, oh, the experience you're asking from me, is it not until I get a job before I get the experience? I found out that freelancing can solve that problem for you. So you start freelancing on freelancing sites. And like I told you, the global ones, I know Upwork, there are other ones too, guru.com, freelancer.com. You will get rules that they will not be asking you to do things that are outside of the Power BI you want to become good at. So that way, you will get really, really, and sometimes you get the international exposure that you want, where you work in the kind of environment Charles has described, where that was described, where the environment, they already have a very structured database, and you are plugging in to build stuff on top of the existing systems. So that's the number 2. 1, build stuff as you are learning. 2, explore freelancing. Then number 3 is also try to find a way, which Mr. Charles has said very nicely, find a way to merge domain knowledge with the Power BI you are learning. If I work in an FMCG space, try to capitalize on merging the two so that it's easier for you to get a better career job rather than starting afresh. The way Taiwo has said, where you hibernate for some weeks because it's not your domain, and people are no longer taking that approach. Maybe in the beginning they are okay with that, but they would rather want someone who has follow-come skills. So those 3 things are what me I've seen that works a lot for people. As you are learning, be pushing out visible portfolio, pushing out stuff people can see that yes, you did this. Then number two is also freelance so that you get really practical where there's time. You know, the thing with all this practice-based portfolio is there's nobody on your neck. There's no pressure. Not to burst on people's bubbles. I've seen some people who, when they post on social media, the stuff they've done, the data is not messy. Sometimes all the data that is feeding that very nice visual is coming from one flat table. You know, so most of the time you just spend, you know, less on the data shaping and all because you are the one that has provided the data yourself. But then when you now face a project, most of my projects that I do is the data I'm fighting with. 1 month project, 30 days project, 20 days you are fighting data. The visualization is at the end, and that's after you spend many days fighting it. So is that real life project that will give you some of those. So you begin to have a tool set of how you approach things, how you even get the data you want. Because customer will tell you, when they are telling you, I used to say, they will tell me, oh, you know, pick this one there, show us the supplier, show us the target, the region. And they'll be talking as if everything is coming from one table. And then when you start building it, when they give you access to the data, you will see that you will have to start fishing from like 20 tables. And some tables don't even have obvious means of joining them. So I just wanted to stop at that those are 3 things that I think anybody who is trying to, you know, make a career change should consider. And if you are starting from scratch, experience as you are learning, build up stuff, make sure you get freelancing, and then also domain knowledge. So any last words from Mr. Charles, Mr. D?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think before you close for the day, it's also good to let people know what's in for them, right? I think that's the greatest motivator. You understand what I mean? I just shared the file with you now on Telegram, right? It's about the different revenue or the different salary, right? That you can. I don't know if you can open it so that people will see.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, if you can quickly help me open it.
Just quickly try and do that. Telegram. My Telegram is on. I can even. Is it something I can share with them too?
Yes. Just open it.
So I'm going to save it and at the same time open. Okay. So this
exactly. So if you can scroll down now, if you could search for anything business analyst or data or ERP, right? So these are salary ranges. Talking between entry level, mid, and senior levels, right? So if you know you'll be earning, you know, something from I think the minimum. Well, it also depends again. Exactly. So look at inventory analyst, right? Well, we are not talking about inventory, so to say, but if you search for something around data analyst, business analyst, right? You can see what you are able to earn, right? I think that is also a very good motivator. So if you know what you are going to be earning, if you are qualified for this particular role, then I think that would help you one way or the other. Thank you.
I'm going to quickly share so the first time is up so that they can search themselves. It's looking a bit difficult to find exactly the data analyst role. So let me just save it on my computer, quickly upload and share. Mr. Charles, anything you want to say, sir?
Well, it's been interesting. Much has gone down, and I think we've really gotten enough. What was shared just now would be very, very valuable. Although you mentioned inventory analyst, that's even what we are trying to suggest now. That you see, with your Power BI, you could be an inventory analyst, and you could even earn more and better than just coming in and say, "Oh, I'm a Power BI developer, especially here in Nigeria. So any domain that uses data, I mean, would benefit from much of what we have said here. So that's much I can put in. We've done a lot.
Okay. Mr. T, Mr. Taiwo, anything you want to add? Mr. Francis,
Yep.
I'm URL now. I'm going to post now.
Yes. So yes, I even myself, I've learned a lot. I will really be willing to see how much value I can command for the little skills I have, while aspiring to be like big men like you, at least on the skills end. Yeah, but I've learned from your engagements. Again, in summary, for those of us who perhaps are not starting out as agnostics BI developers, we have some domain knowledge in supply chain, customer service, and we're sitting on tons of data. I think the new age we're entering gives us an opportunity to, create an overlap, business intelligence capabilities, as well as your domain capabilities. There's some unique value to be gotten from there. Thank you for your time, everybody.
I think someone also too has asked a question. Mr. Justice, I can see your question. So his question is, please, if any one of us here has his office around Oregun Ikeja, where he can volunteer to work for free and learn data analytics while working, he will be glad to work with the person. So he says he's a beginner in the industry. Which industry would that be now? Mr. Justice, are you able to maybe ask it so that I don't muddle up things? It looks like what you want to say is important. Maybe we can get someone who might be willing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mike, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yeah. What I was trying to say is, I just coming into the data analytics industry newly, and I.
Hello. Hello. Are you still
Hello,
there?
can everybody hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go on.
And learn data analytics. I'll be so glad to do that. But I'm just coming to the industry, and I would love to work with an expert and have good experience on how it's been done and everything about it.
Okay. So, is there anybody? Okay, I will also have it in mind. Or is there anybody who is willing to? If you are anyway, if you don't want to talk right in this session, you can also let me know so I can get across to him. Or if you have advice for him on any way you can go about it too, because again, there is more than one way to one thing, to any solution. So Mr. Francis is even saying you should try out Kaggle. Do you know Kaggle?
No, but I can give it a try.
Okay, so if you put it on Google search, you will find it out. So and Zindi, so they are kind of similar in terms of what they will help you with.
Okay,
so from there, you will get a lot of very hands-on practice.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Any other person wants to say something as we wrap up? Okay, so does anybody wants to say anything? Okay.
Yes, I just want to appreciate you, Mr. Michael. You've been doing a very wonderful job. Your consistency is just is well appreciated, and many of us we are looking up to you, and we hope that one day we'll be able to at least command the same respect you currently have in Excel and data analytic world. So this is just to say a very big thank you to you. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so I guess we just end it here. Thank you. And there's someone who I've noticed who's been joining our session consistently. There are two actually, but I think I've thanked someone before, but I will still thank the two so that I don't play partiality, because actually there are two people that I really need to thank that are not, I can't say they are in-house people like the Mr. Charles and Mr. Dapo. So Mr. Anthony, I want to say a very big thank you for you. You always consistently join. I do not take that for granted. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
There's also Anna Karin. Anna Karin, you've been joining also consistently, and you even stay till the end, like even when the session is longer than the normal 1 hour like this. I also want to say thank you. So I think with that, I'm going to draw the curtain for today's session. So thank you, everybody, and have a nice week ahead. And thanks to all our contributors today. Me too, I learned a lot, which is why I know that what I know is just one part of it, or there are more of opinions. And so that was why I really wanted people to speak, and I've learned a lot. Thank you very much. Hopefully in another slide that I do on this, I will make sure SQL is written as a necessity because it's kind of now obvious that it's a necessity.
Certainly.
So thank you very much, sirs, and have a nice week ahead.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.